So, at the beginning of the last episode, I gave you guys a tour of the castle, which we have since built this wonderful tower on top of. And so I thought I would give you a tour of another area of my base. This area is called Hillholm. It's kind of like my livestock farming area for farms that are not mechanical, I guess. In the city is where I keep a lot of my mechanical farms. But over here, I have my sheeps and my cows. It's kind of supposed to be like a Highlands style area. I have lots of these cute little houses. That's where I keep some of my wheat for the guys. They all have their little interiors. Ooh, on here. Very nice. Very just like a classic B-Man interior. A lot of bee possibility. Because, in order to have a good interior, you have to maximize the amount of bees that could possibly live in there at any given time. But this is Hillholm Keep. Before we go in there, I'll show you a little bit of the town. So it's just kind of like built on the side of a hill. All the buildings are made out of the same blocks, just kind of varying the shape and the position of them a little bit. They all have a little interior. Little bedroom. I think it's quite cute. Look at what a beautiful view. Wouldn't you want to wake up here? Let's go back out. Alright. There's also kind of like little back areas here I think work very nicely. And then all the way down at the bottom here, there's a little bit of a boathouse with some docks. And you'll notice over here there's a beautiful ship. I got this on the server that I play on. We do a Secret Santa every Christmas. And in doing the Secret Santa, you don't ask for like an item or a gift. What you do is you suggest a build idea, and then the person who gets you in Secret Santa then builds you that. And so I had asked for a nice ship that I could put underneath my mob farm for the mobs to drop down into and then collect the items in. So I was lucky enough to receive this boat. So I'll kind of show you a little bit. I Wondermere-ified it a little bit with some of the decorations. So let's see. Kind of like what they do is they drop down, and then in here is where they collect and they die, and then I can store my items here. So I have lots of items. It's fantastic. And then the other farm I over here, there's a tiny little boat there. Above it is a shulker farm. So I dragged a shulker all the way from the end over here. There's this little end guy. Hello. And he's just storing the bits. And yeah, it kind of just passively goes at all times if I'm in the area, which is really nice. So I've managed to collect quite a bit. Anyway, back to Hillholm. I have something at Wondermere that I call the quest. And the quest is kind of like a a problem-solving adventure type game that takes you all around my base. Maybe one day I'll have some of my friends play it and I'll record it for you guys all to see. But the climax of the quest happens in the basement of Hillholm here. So I'm not going to go down there and show you guys what's up with that, but I will give you a brief tour of kind of like the top side of the castle. So there's, just little bits and pieces around here that they can explore. And then when you go inside, ooh, spoilers! I'm not going to go through that door. Who could these people be? It's just little bits and pieces. I always put a bedroom in all the builds that I'm doing, even if they're not like the build that I am going to live in, because while I'm here in this area or I'm building around it, I like to always have a bedroom. Or, of course, I also keep a bed in my inventory. So yeah, let's go up top here and take a nice look. It's a beautiful view of the castle, just barely in the distance. My render distance is low because I'm playing on a potato, but that's okay. But yeah, this is Hillholm. It's one of the most recent areas of Wondermere that I've built, and I really like it. I think that the deep slate and just like the classic stone textures really work. So yeah. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode here in Wondermere on the Shroomhearth SMP server. we're standing up here in this beautiful little witchy area that we created in the last episode at the top of our tower. Also, I just wanted to point out I've changed my GUI back to how it normally is. I don't know why it was so mega before, but I prefer this size. Oop, peep the fit, peep the fit. Okay, there are also a couple things on this server that I want to point out because we are not technically a pure vanilla server. We are, I guess, a vanilla plus-ish server. We have a data pack that our amazing owner and admin Ipalixa has made for us. And so I'm not going to go over everything right now, but kind of as we come across them, maybe I'll point them out and I'll tell you a little bit about them. So you'll notice at the bottom of my enchantment listing on my boots, you're going to see something called a Rune of Swiftness, and it increases my movement speed by 20%. And then on my elytra, you'll see a rune of armor, and it adds 4 armor points. These runes are like something that drops from the Ender Dragon when we battle it, because Ippo has made our Ender Dragon fight like 1,000 times more interesting. So I will absolutely be showing you guys that dragon fight at some point. It makes it more interesting because the crystals respawn, mobs get spawned in to fight us. There's gravity wells. There's potion effects on the ground that kind of make it harder. And every time you melee, not every time you melee hit the dragon, there is a chance that a rune pops off, and the amount of runes you get is based on the collective omen level of everyone playing. It's really awesome. Like, we'll definitely make sure to like show you guys at some point. But yeah, so I have a lot of runes on all my things, and there's like strength runes, armor runes, haste runes, speed runes. Like, there's a bunch of different runes. And then the other thing you might have noticed is that my sword is a little bit aggressive. It is massive. This is a texture I created myself. We also have a handful of just like, I mean, it's just a diamond sword, right? You can kind of see right at the bottom there, it says Minecraft Diamond Sword. It's just retextured. It's my Wondermere staff. So my base is obviously called Wondermere. I wanted to have a weapon that kind of was based on my area. And this is kind of what we came up with. When you hit someone, it makes a couple noises and it drops like the cherry petal leaves. It's really awesome. But Ipa was kind enough to let me add this, even though it is absolutely massive. And I'm not gonna lie, I did not mean to make it this big, but it ended up being this big. And that's just something that we have to deal with. Anyway, that aside, this area is turning out really nice. And in today's episode, as promised, we are going to do more of the interiors. So I've kind of been setting up little bits and pieces down here of kind of how the rooms are going to be set up. And I've laid out kind of like some really rough ideas of what each floor is going to entail. So down here you can see research floor. I'll put a couple offices in. And there'll be like little doors onto each floor. Down here, let's see, what did I put down here? Oh, another office. Map room. Oh yeah, I want to map my area, and I'm going to put a map down here. And then on this bottom floor, it's going to be a music room. I've kind of hummed and hawed about what I wanted this room to be for a long time. And I think a music room sounds like a really good idea because I want to build like a grand piano style thing. So that'll be really interesting. And in order to make this episode not too boring, because I'm going to be doing mostly interior work, I'm also going to do this royal courtyard area. Oh, I hear baddies out there. They love to spawn on my roof because, along with the bee infestation, I am also absolutely horrible at lighting up my bases, and mobs just fly out of every nook and cranny to try to get me at any given moment. So, yeah, we're going to do that area. We're going to do the rooms in this tower. I'm going to do them in kind of like a time-lapse style, so I'm not having to like talk while I'm doing it, because that is hard. I can't build while I'm talking. I've tried, and op spotted. I see you, sir. You think you're slick hiding on my roof with a helmet. Yeah, I see you over there. Absolutely unbelievable. Bah! Bah! Yeah, that's what I thought. No ops allowed. Anyway, okay. I'm going to gather up some materials that I think might be interesting to put into each of the rooms, and we'll come back. I'll show you what I've gathered, and then we'll let the time lapse begin. But first, I'm going to go get the stuff. Okay, I've put together a couple things. So, for our treasury room, just some bits and pieces of the goodies. And then, so I've decided that the walls of all the rooms are going to kind of have like this smooth stone or smooth sandstone wall. So the base will be that stripped log that you saw, but then the rest will be the smooth sandstone. And just some bits and pieces of things we need. Of course, we have the essential. As many bees as you can fit inside of your base is the better. You want more bees. As much loud buzzing as possible is actually the goal. So we'll be using those as countertops. And then I have some map making that I'll do. And then I've also put together some bits and pieces for the piano. You'll see what I'm doing with the dragon heads. And then also for the courtyard out here, I've just thrown some things together. I really want to make like a nice little custom tree just off like just by from scratch, just kind of like going for it. I don't want to plan it out. And I was thinking what would be really nice is if it was kind of like a curled tree. So like the trunk is quite short and just has a little bit of a curl to it, but then the canopy is like relatively like large, or not large, but maybe like long and flat, something that could like really fit in this space. And then I'll have a couple of little like farm areas, like a couple hedges and a sitting area or something like that, something that would really just like feel nice in this area. So yeah, I'm kind of gonna put these together, and I hope you enjoyed the time lapse. Okay, we are looking at this time lapse. All right, we're building a little piano. Look at this. Oh, I really like how the dragon heads make the little thing. You can't really tell in the time lapse, but you'll see after this. Oh, look at me scooting around. Oh, I've never done a voiceover before. Oh, this is so interesting. Oh my goodness, when I was on vacation in Hawaii, I had the most absolutely diabolical farmer's tan. Day one, we went on a walk, no sunscreen, like the absolute genius that I am. Bam, t-shirt on, horrid. It was it was bad. Anyway, okay, back to the building. Ooh, look at this. Putting some little bits and pieces in these little item frames. I don't know why I feel like I have to talk fast just because the video is moving fast. I have so much time to explain things. I think that these walls might be a little bit on the plain side. I'm not sure. Oh, and we're moving on. Okay, now we're in the treasure room. Look at how secure that door is. Oh my goodness, no one is ever going to get into that room. All my diamonds and goodies are safe. This little office area. Oh, it's so beautiful. And oh my goodness, are we done yet? Oh, we're getting there. Oh, a little turnaround and bam. All right, everybody, let's take a look at what we've done. I've added a couple other details in just after the time lapse was done recording, just to kind of polish things up. I find that I don't want to like bog down it by running back and forth to my storage room every time I think, oh, that would might be actually kind of like a cool idea. Okay, so if you remember, this bottom floor I had set aside for a music room. So what I've done is I've put a piano in here, as promised. So you saw me put those dragon heads on. They kind of turn into these little keys, which I think is really nice. I did not come up with this. I've known about this trick for a long time. I've done it here and there. I genuinely can't remember who did it first or where I found it, but if you know, then let everyone know. Yeah, so we've got a nice little piano. I almost considered putting it sideways, but I think it works best when it's like facing this way. Anyway, so got a jukebox here. We can put some discs in here later. But yeah, so this is the music room. A little bit of the leaving. If you remember in the first episode, I said that I always try to avoid spamming too many leaves over your builds. And so I think just a little bit in the corners is kind of like all you really need most of the time. You don't ever want to overdo the leaves unless you're specifically going for an overgrown look. All right. The next room up here, this is the map room. Once again, just a little bit up in the corners. I even may have gone a little bit overboard, but it is what it is. So here is the map of my island. As you can see, here's the castle up here. We have the city here. There's Hillholm, the area we kind of looked around earlier in the episode. And there's a couple other areas that I'll take you on in future episodes, which will be kind of nice. On every floor, there's also just a little office space, something like this. Every once in a while, I like to put a little bit of an interesting, ceiling design. It's not everywhere, but, sometimes. We'll go up to the next one. So this next one was the research room. I was struggling a little bit to think about how I was going to do that. So kind of what I'm imagining here is that there's these rows of tables with like interesting things, like the Nautilus shells, the Skulk, Soul Sand, a couple brewing stands, the new Eye Blossom flower, things that I imagine the people of Wondermere would be kind of interested in finding. And they're just on these tables and they're just being looked at. I always include a little closet on all my floors and then another little office with a beautiful view out of that courtyard, which we haven't done yet, but is going to be done as the last part of this episode. And then the last floor that we did up here was the treasury. So I wanted to make this floor feel a lot more confined. So there's a lot more rooms. It's mostly hallway. So there's like a little area down here with two closets on either side. And then this is the little office that occupies this floor. And then there's the treasury. Extremely, I cannot stress it enough. This is insanely well protected. No one is ever going to be able to break in here. It's almost like mind-shattering how smart that this mechanism is and how small it is. Anyway, so I just grabbed a couple of bits and pieces out of my under chest to put into this room. It's not super proud of it. I'm sure I could do a lot better. I actually have another vault room in the city that's a part of the quest that I like a lot more than this, but I had quite a small space to work with. So that is that. And then, of course, the top floor is our beloved wizard area. So if we're going to go all the way back down, I'll kind of show you the last thing we're going to do here today. And it's probably going to be the hardest part of this. So in this area, obviously, is going to be the courtyard. And I want it to be really nice and almost regal. So I'm going to put, I think we discussed earlier, a nice almost like bonsai-esque tree. But obviously it's not going to be the size of a bonsai. It'll be about this big, you can imagine. Maybe put a couple of rows of flowers, a nice little seating area, perhaps like a pergola or something like that. And then we'll kind of see how it turns out. So let me go collect some resources. Actually, in fact, I know I have some logs here somewhere. Where did oh, hello, the green one. Okay. Jeez. So this is actually a personal attack on my entire existence because I'm trying to build a tree and record a video and the world has decided it's actually time. Thunder and lightning. Okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. But what I'll quickly show you is the base of the tree is going to be about there. Okay, oh. Thank you, Mandy. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of freehand this tree. I'm not gonna plan it beforehand, so it's anyone's guess how this is gonna turn out. So leave it to me and we will be right back. So we're looking at this tree being made. I was trying to get a little bit creative with that trunk, make it kind of like twist and twirl around a little bit. And then obviously with the leaves, you never want the leaves to be super dense. You want to have it airy so the inside of the tree is actually pretty much hollow. And then I have that micro transition from the darker leaves up to the lighter leaves. Okay, now we're turning around. Ooh, look how beautiful this pergola is with, oh, you guessed it, more leaves on top. Look at me zoom around there, putting this farm into the ground. Actually, spoiler alert, I'm going to raise that up in a second here. There's going to be an awkward cut in the time lapse because I'm a professional. Anyway, and bam, oh, there it was. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. I like what we did here. Okay, let's take a look at what we've done. It's quite quaint, very modest little garden up here. There's not too much going on. Let's start over here with this little kind of pergola thing. I love using these campfires as the top. Of course, it's very common just because the way, the texture of the stacked little logs is so cute. It's a nice little sitting area down here. Some berry bushes. We've got some farmland here with some wheat. That'll look really nice when it's all grown up. And at the back, there's some flowers. Then there's like a little dirt area with the pumpkins and the melons. And then, of course, there is our tree that we did. I think it turned out okay. It's very small. I've kind of just been experimenting with trunks that are not all just like one wood color. So let me know what you think about it. I definitely is subject to change, I think. Adding the little bits and pieces in there, and then the top is the lighter azalea, and then underneath there's some of this birch, so it kind of like gives the illusion of the shadow. I don't know if it's necessarily working super well, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, so this is the little area. I haven't put anything in here yet. It's supposed to be a little like gardener's office. We'll see if I can come up with something that's better for that. But yeah, I think that this area has really come together. Also, I just wanted to say, I know it's been a little while since the last episode. I was away on vacation with my family, and then when I got home, immediately I got sick. So I wanted to take some time away from the computer to really get better, because I didn't want to just like sit down here and start hacking and coughing my way through a video. So that's why. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this episode 2. I'm really enjoying making these videos, and I can't wait to make more. So I will see you in